Yo, what's up, guys? Figured I would do a little live stream. So, it was a pretty mediocre weekend. I mean, we hit this on ParlayPlay. This was from a live stream. So we had some MLB pick. I mean, this we gave out a few days ago. And then on PrizePicks, I mean, just a lot of 4 for 5s. I mean, Mahomes hooked us here. Over 3.5 rushing attempts was a really good bet. And obviously, PrizePicks cut down my bet size to jack shit. But in general, I mean, just like here, another one, we almost had the 10 to 250. In one 10 to 250, it pays for the next 24 losses. You could lose 24 in a row and then just win one and you would break even. But here, Cameron Dicker. So here, Starry. So a lot of really close ones, over 33.5. But that's just how it goes sometimes. But anyways, what we can do is we can start to look for some bets for Monday Night Football. So we got 2 games once again. And both of them are projected to be pretty close. So you can browse odds, on OddsJam for free. Any market you want to look at. Or I guess, the Eagles game isn't that close. Thursday Night Football is projected to be a good game as well. But you can see the Bengals probably on Joe Burrow. I mean, they used to be like minus 300, minus 340. A week ago, they were minus 340 favorites, huge favorites to win this game. Let me make sure my screen is sharing correctly. What's up, guys? Alex Raw. Anyways, let's go through this. So anyways, pretty crazy, right? Literally a week ago, they were minus 340 to win this game. So huge favorites. Now they're only down to minus 150, kind of bouncing around there. Anyways, I got to plug in my computer. So let's do that. So what we can do is we can look for some bets. We'll look for some player props in the NFL, on PrizePicks, on Underdog Fantasy, Hot Streak ParlayPlay. I say this in every video. I'm just showing you where I'm putting my own money down, where I'm finding value, stuff like that. So where do we want to start? So where do we want to start? We can start out with the NFL. I mean, we can start out looking for some NFL picks, see if we can find anything. Looks like there's some pretty good esports plays as well. So I've explained this before, but I don't really care what I'm betting on. If we find some good NFL picks, we can pair it with some esports picks. Why not? So we can check out too, like rush plus receiving TDs. So we can check out some of these. Sometimes there's some good value, as we had in other weeks, on these touchdown scorer props. So like PrizePicks, for example, has Jalen Hurts. They have Jalen Hurts' lineup. So again, the way that PrizePicks works, right, is they have fixed payouts. Any 2-pick entry you create, you're getting a 3x payout. So PrizePicks is a fixed payout platform. So what you want to kind of do is you want to compare the lines on PrizePicks to those on the sportsbook. So let's take a look at Jalen Hurts. So you can see, oh, baby. So here we have a beautiful bet. Man, I found the first bet that I'm going to be all over today. So this looks beautiful. So we can let's check out Mixin. So Mixin, you can see, right? Most of these books have what's called one-way markets. So for example, DraftKings, right? You can't on DraftKings, you can't bet on a player to not score a touchdown. You can only bet on them to score a touchdown. So those are called one-way markets. So it doesn't make it really, when you're comparing lines to PrizePicks and trying to find good bets, it's not that helpful. But anyways, if you look here at Joe Mixon, you can see the few sportsbooks that have two-way markets, they all have Mixon as like a slight favorite to score a touchdown. And then we can check out Williams. Williams, you can see he looks like he's like a slight underdog to score. Fliff has him minus 140. But if you look at Jalen Hurts, right, and this betting tool is just the OddsJam Sportsbook screen, is Jalen Hurts is a big underdog to rush for a TD. Obviously, if you do passing touchdowns included, that's a different story. But if we're talking about rushing plus receiving TDs, the market, has Hurts as a big favorite to go under. So let's go with that pick. And then let's go back here to the, OddsJam Fantasy Optimizer. We can kind of take a look, but honestly, sorry, guys. If you're one of those people who only bets on the NFL, I'm going to add in esports as well, and we can take a look there. So what we can do as well is we can see, are there any TD props here? So we also want to take this on Underdog Fantasy and anything else. So Williams and Mixon, there's not really any value. But again, like, it's pretty simple. I've gone through this many times, but on Underdog Fantasy, it's just like PrizePicks, right? It's another fixed payout platform. This guy's fucked over my parlay before, Austin Hooper. But right, Underdog Fantasy, they don't change your payouts based on you selecting over versus under. You're always getting the same 3x payout, right? So if every sports book, this is just like very rational sports betting, data-driven sports betting, sportsbook screen, as you can see here, they all have Jalen Hurts heavily favored to go under, Fliff minus 180. All these books are data points. They're sophisticated books that have invested, millions of dollars in their ability to set lines. They're all telling you the same thing, like, yo, this guy's more likely to go under. So we can take this pick. Again, I have shitty betting limits on PrizePicks. So I'm not going to be able to bet much on PrizePicks. You can take it on, some people will be like, oh, why did you include this on PrizePicks and Underdog? As you can see, they're only giving me $25 max bet sizes on PrizePicks. Took them, the funds over, took them for a bit too much, I guess. But what we can do is we can look at some esports lines. And again, like, line movement like crazy. I mean, if you got the Bengals, if you got the Rams a week ago, you're probably feeling pretty good because they went from, plus 300 underdogs to plus 110. But anyways, what we can do is we can go here and let's look for some pairs. Why don't we start with Underdog? Underdog's a little easier, right? On Underdog Fantasy, they give you a pretty good payout. For these 3-pick entries, they give you a 6x payout, right? Whereas on PrizePicks, if you go with a 3-pick entry, and I know some people will know this, but for anyone new, why is nothing working on this stupid fucking website? But anyways, if we go here, right, PrizePicks only gives you a 5x payout. PrizePicks only gives you a 5x payout for these 3-pick entries. So, like, when you go through the math behind these platforms, all that type of stuff, it really matters, right? Like a 3-pick payout, a 5x payout versus a 6x payout. So let's start out with esports. And, esports was meh, kind of whatever this weekend. But what we can do, first 2 map kills, CSGO. Okay, what's the deal here? So let's look them up. Walco. Why can't I see this guy? So, okay, here we go. And, like, again, what kind of sucks about esports is you don't have as many data points, right? When we're talking about Jalen Hurts, the books have his under really heavily favored, right? So on these fixed payout platforms, that's exactly what you want to see, right? You want to see spots where sportsbooks are telling you, yo, that, one side of the market is very favored. Because on Underdog, all you got to do to be profitable playing 3-pick entries is if you can win these over-unders, right? Just like Hurts over-under to score a TD, if you can win these prop bets above 55% of the time, you're going to be profitable. And you can play around with this number, right? Like if you can win your over-unders 57% of the time, you win 57, you only lose 43, your ROI is going to be 11%. If you have no edge, no advantage. So what it means to have no edge on these platforms is you're only winning these prop bets, these over-unders 50% of the time. So if you can only win these over-unders 50% of the time, you're hitting 50, you're losing 50, your ROI is going to be negative 25%. But anyways, let's find some picks. Let's stop talking here for a second. But let me put it in the chat right here. And we have a really good play. So Hurts, I mean, again, like, a little surprising. We were all over Bijan to not score a touchdown, but we got hooked on every fucking entry. We had a shit ton of 4-for-5s on PrizePicks. Obviously, it doesn't affect me as much because they have me on, the fucking dipshit betting limits. But for anyone who is tailing, probably not as fun. Getting these 4-for-5s is obviously not as fun. So anyways, for esports, right, like what kind of sucks though is you just have less data points. So like for this play on Walco, right, all OddsJam is doing, the sportsbook screen, the fantasy optimizer, they're pretty simple tools, right? It's just data. All it's doing is reading in, these tens of thousands of lines from Underdog. Most of these bets suck, right? Most of these bets, there's no value, there's no discrepancies. At that point, you're just betting with your gut, and that's not going to make you money, right? So for this player, Walco, there's some discrepancies. So we can take a look at some esports lines. Then we can go back to football. I mean, maybe Underdog has some other football lines, so we can put in football. Anything, incredible that we want to go with. Van Jefferson, under 37.5 receiving yards. So like it's pretty simple. What am I trying to say? It's pretty simple, like, you know, kind of the logic for finding bets on Underdog. So if we go here, right, and you go to receiving yards, so this is just DraftKings. And even if you don't use DraftKings, a lot of people will tell me like, yo, I don't use DraftKings, so I don't care about DraftKings. It's like, well, you still want to consider where they have their line set, right? So you can see they actually moved it. They used to have the line at 37.5, but now it looks like they moved down to 36.5. So let me refresh this. But long story short, it's like, even if you don't use a sports book, you know, like there are tons of books I want to look at their odds, and I don't necessarily bet on them, but I still want to look at, you know, their lines as a point of comparison. So anyways, let's go back here and let's add in esports. Let's add in tennis. I'm sure ParlayPlay will have some good lines too. And what you can do as well is we can just like, again, depending on where you're located, I only use a few sports books, but depending on where you're located, you may have different sports books available than I have. So if we go here and we just like filter for the NFL, is there any value on like FanDuel or something like that? So we have football, NFL, and then we can go to like max odds, 250. I mean, whatever. So you can see like Panthers early value next week at plus 140 against the Vikings. Man, the Vikings suck. So like, yeah, you know, decent value. I mean, nothing to write home about. 1.86% profit margin. You know, the EV tool just points out discrepancies in odds. And then here, this play looks decent, right? So this plays for Monday Night Football on Bovada, plus 110 on his under 65.5 receiving yards, right? It looks like most other books have this minus 110, minus 115. So this play seems solid as well. You know, rest of the market around like minus 120, minus 115. That seems good. But anyways, let's go back here. Let's finish out this slip on Underdog. So we want to take the under for Hurts. Again, pretty simple. Every book has his under. Really, 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 really heavily favored. So what we can do here is we can find some other picks to go with. Damn, there's a lot of esports plays, which is great. So, damn. See, you can see just like a lot of esports line discrepancies in general right now. So, like, we can check out this player, right? It's like, okay, like, Underdog has his headshot line at 21.5. You can see PrizePicks has his line. So if you go over to CSGO, PrizePicks has his line at 19, right? It's like, okay, like that's interesting. What could we do here? So you kind of have different options. Is what you could do is you could middle bet this, right? This is, I mean, you're never going to see an NBA player. A lot of people will be like 19 versus, you know, 21.5 doesn't seem that big. It's like, find me a time ever, you know, when you can find a 2.5 point discrepancy between like, you know, for an NBA player. It's not going to happen. So anyways, I'm trying to load up this Hot Streak platform too to see if they have a headshot line. You can see like ParlayPlay doesn't even have this guy up yet, you know, for CSGO. So obviously the more books, again, the better. So typically when there's less data points, when there's not as many books posting odds, this website, I mean, there's a lot of good bets on Hot Streak, but I've never seen a jankier website. Don't feel super safe. It wouldn't feel super safe with a ton of money in it. Sometimes it just like sits on this logo for like half an hour while I'm trying to log in. But anyways, so like when there's less data points available, a lot of times I'll just middle bet these plays. I mean, 19 versus 21.5 is pretty big. But obviously I got cut to shitty betting limits on PrizePicks, so you could middle bet this, right? Take the over 19 on PrizePicks, under 21.5, right? You're not taking an opinion on whether this guy's going to go over or under. You're just like buying a stock for 19, selling it for 21.5. But anyways, is this site going to load? I was going to pull up and see what's the deal here, and maybe they have a headshot line or something that OddsJam's not reading in yet, but I'm not sure if it's just I mean, it's absolutely insane. It's Sunday. It's literally Sunday, NFL Sunday during a football game. Website not loading. What a fucking shitty company. Anyways, let's keep going through. So where do we want to go to next? So like this play seems solid. Again, it kind of sucks because you just have less data points available, you know, but like, hey, this play seems decent. So here, this play, so OddsJam's getting in data from Hot Streak. Maybe the app or something is working and the website isn't. I don't know. But you can see here, right, for this player, it's like, you know, this is just kind of rational sports betting, right? His line is 37.5 on Underdog. The rest of the market has him 35 or 35.5. And again, you also want to consider the juice, right? So not only are you getting 2 points of value to the rest of the market or 2.5 points, but Hot Streak, they have his line at 35.5 with the under as the juiced or the favored outcome, right? So if you take a look right here, so like this seems like a great second play to go with. So we can take his kills line. Again, and you can take his headshot line, but I'd want to middle it. Wow, absolutely insane. Anyways, let's go back here, and let's go back here. So we want to take, this guy to go under 37.5 kills. Rest of the market's at 35.5, and Hot Streak has the under favored. So you want to consider the juice, right? It's a good thing that Hot Streak has more juice towards the under, because that means Hot Streak is telling us, yo, we think his line should be, first of all, lower, and we think the under is the more likely outcome. So it's like, okay, that bet seems pretty good. Anyways, let's make sure my screen didn't. Anyways, let's get this slip done. And then let's go over to PrizePicks, because there were some good bets on PrizePicks. So anyways, this play on Walco seems good too. Like, it's kind of up to us what we want to go with. It's just like, there's less data points. There's no Hot Streak. There's no, you just have less data points. So as a sports bettor, like, you want to see as many data points as possible telling you, yo, this sportsbook is screwing up a line. And I would love if they would load their website so I could, take a look at some of these headshot lines. But anyways, is what it is. So a lot of headshot lines, again, I'd recommend middle betting them, especially if there's only 2 data points available on where the line should be set. So we'll go over to like the next player kills line, and let's take a look at some of these. What's the deal here? Matrix. Oh, this is Valorant. Shit, man. Getting all twisted here. So let's go here to Valorant, and then we want to go to first 2 player map kills. And we can take a look at like Matrix, right? And it's the same concept, right? Making money on these websites isn't particularly hard, or the strategy behind sports betting, right? Finding discrepancies in the market, finding plays with an edge, stuff like that. Really, the hard part is just like, this takes time to do. And then also it's just like, sportsbooks, they ultimately have the power to determine how much people can bet. ParlayPlay, this platform where we hit the 5 or 6 leg parlay this weekend, they only have a max bet size of $60, which is just like crazy. I mean, a sportsbook that literally caps your max bet size at $60, crazy. But anyways, if we go to Valorant, it's like, again, you only have 2 data points. So maybe at this point, it's like, fuck it, we go with the higher profit margin play, even though there's some less data points. Walco under 33. I mean, PrizePicks has his line at 29.5. ParlayPlay's agreeing. So it's like, okay, like that seems pretty solid, right? It's like, what are they doing? I mean, it's crazy, right? This is like, it's literally like the price of a stock. You go to Fidelity, you see a stock is worth $29.50. Then you go to E-Trade and you see it's worth $33. Doesn't make any sense. It's crazy. So anyways, let's go ahead. So this can be our first entry, 3-pick entry. We got 2 CSGO. And then we got, this NFL play. And if this NFL play is a little confusing, again, it's like Underdog is a platform. They don't change our payout based on us selecting over versus under. Shit. So let's go back here. And I'm going to lock this in. I know sometimes Underdog moves lines pretty quickly. So go ahead and, lock it in. But you can see here, right? It's like, I mean, we're just following the data. He's heavily favored to go under, right? Minus 180. Underdog is minus 122 odds for 3-pick entries, if you think about it. So Underdog has a 6x payout, and I'll prove to you what that means, because a lot of people will be like, what do you mean Underdog is minus 122 odds for 3-pick entries? Is if you go to a parlay calculator, if you have a 3-leg parlay, right? Underdog has fixed payouts. Doesn't matter, overs, unders, whatever the fuck you pick. You're always getting a 6x payout. CSGO, soccer, nobody cares, right? But if we go here and so let's go to the parlay calculator, right? So Underdog is always, you're getting a 6x payout. Is if you were to create a 3-leg parlay on a sports book where every leg was minus 122 odds, you would be getting a 6x payout, betting 10 for a total payout of 60, right? So that's essentially what Underdog is for 3-pick entries, right? So we'll go here, right? And again, on Underdog, if you go through the math, all you got to do is win 55%, right? So let's go here, right? It's 55. All you have to do is win above 55% of your player prop over-unders to be profitable. Like, people add in a lot of shit on how to make money on Underdog Fantasy, but at the end of the day, all it boils down to, it's a fixed payout platform, is can you win 55% of your player props or more? And if you can, you're going to be profitable. So like for this play on Hurts, it's very simple. So let's go to player touchdowns. So let's go to player touchdowns, and if we look up Hurts again, it's like, you know, you got to remember there's like different levels of how big of a favorite, you know, a team is. So like Hurts is like minus 180, minus 170, you know, so like that's a pretty big favorite. We're not talking about like a minus 120, you know, juice favorite. Minus 180. What does minus 180 mean? So, you know, minus 200 means a 2-to-1 betting favorite, means 2/3 to win. So like when a team is minus 200, right, it means they're, you know, 2-to-1 favorites, 2/3 to win the game, 66.67% to win the game. If a team's minus 300, they're 3-to-1 betting favorites, 3/4 to win the game, 75% to win the game. So if Fliff has the under for Hurts at minus 180, it means 64.2% is right what they have as him going under, him not scoring a touchdown, right? So pretty big favorite, long story short. And you can kind of see the same thing for football here, right? It's like, okay, like, you know, based on the Joe Burrow news. So if we go to the Bengals-Rams game, it's like the Bengals were minus 300 favorites, right? Something, you know, around there. Where were they on FanDuel? So, you know, minus 335. So the market, you know, was pricing them as like 75% to win the game. Now after presumably, you know, Joe Burrow, whatever, you know, also they lost their first 2 games. Now they're only very slight favorites, minus 126. So like, you know, very small favorites, 52, 53% to win the game, according to the market. Anyways, let's go to PrizePicks. So I want to lock in this player prop on PrizePicks. And again, you have some good middling opportunities if you want them. Like even this play on Walco. I mean, that's fucking insane, right? Like a 3.5 kill discrepancy is massive. So you could even, like, if you wanted to, you could middle bet this, right? So if, you know, if Walco has exactly 30, 31, 32, or 33, you know, kills in the first 2 maps, you'll win your over and you'll win your under on Underdog Fantasy, which is obviously pretty nice. But anyways, if you're just tuning in, like, here's the 3-pick entry on Underdog Fantasy that we locked in, and we can check it out. Is Mixon? Nah, so Mixon isn't a good pick. The value's on Hurts. What's the thought process on using a 2-legged parlay versus a 6-leg parlay? So that's a good question. So basically it all boils down to like win rate. So on Underdog Fantasy, right? And again, I would bet more on this, but I have a max bet size of $100. But on Underdog, right? If you can select these over-unders just like this, right? If you can get these correctly 56% of the time, you can fuck around with the spreadsheet. I forget if I already shared it during this live stream. But if you can win, you know, your prop bets, just like Jalen Hurts, over under half of a TD, right? If you can win these prop bets 56% of the time, so that's pretty fucking solid, right? Winning 56% of the time means you're hitting 56% of your prop bet over unders. You're only losing 44%, 12% gap, right? That's pretty solid. So your ROI playing 3-pick entries would be positive 5%, whereas for 2-pick entries, you would still be losing money. Your ROI would be negative 6%. So it all boils down to like, okay, like what has the highest ROI given my win percentage is kind of how you want to think about it. But anyways, we can go to PrizePicks. And again, I'm not going to middle any of this stuff. I think it's a great strategy, but I have pretty shitty betting limits on PrizePicks, so kind of up to you. Did Hot Streak decide to finally load so I can check out some of their headshot lines, which they recently added, which we got to get added to OddsJam. But long story short, so for Underdog, when you go through the math, what you're going to see is 3-pick entries, right, with no insurance, if you're winning 55% of your picks or more, you're going to be profitable. Whereas for 2 picks, it's like 58%, which is fucking harder. That's a lot harder to win 58% of your bets, only losing 42% versus, 55 and 45. So it makes a really big difference long term. So let's get some prize picks done. So we have Jalen Hurts. So where do we want to go to next? So we can check out some of these other plays. And again, like I always recommend, some people ask me, what sportsbook should I start out with? They're all pretty similar. That's not completely true, but I mean, they all do the same thing, right? They take bets. And honestly, pretty surprised there aren't more bets on like FanDuel, Bovada, anything like that for the games tomorrow. Let's try refreshing. So here you can see there's actually a good bet on Hot Streak, but I can't log in. You can see Mike Evans under 4.5 receptions, minus 135 on Hot Streak. Rest of the market has it minus 145. So this EV tool, positive EV tool, it just points out big discrepancies in odds, right? Whereas the fantasy optimizer, first of all, it only works for these fixed payout websites like PrizePicks and stuff like that. But yeah. Anyways. So you can see like it's recommending, hey, middle this play 19 versus 21.5. And that's a great strategy, but I'm not going to do that shit. So let's go to this player, Insani, and let's just take a look here. Like, is PrizePicks screwing up his line? So you can see, like, it's like, okay, like, Underdog Fantasy has his line at 40.5. Even if you don't use Underdog, like, that's valuable information for you to consider. On PrizePicks, you only have to win 54% of your player prop bets to be profitable. So we're just looking for, like, these discrepancies, like, make a big difference long term. Obviously, we're not going to bet the under, because that would be fucking stupid, right? Why would you bet the under 38 on PrizePicks when other sportsbooks have the line at 40.5? That would make you the worst sports bettor of all time, right? It's like trying to be a day trader if you have to pay 2 times more for every stock. You're just not going to be successful. But you can see here, again, Esports, just like not as many books as like, NFL money lines. It's like, if you switch your state to Alabama or something like that, you should see all sports books. But you can see that like there are hundreds of sports books that post odds on NFL money lines, stuff like that. Whereas esports is just a more fragmented market, but that also means more opportunity, right? Because there's bigger discrepancies between these books. They don't watch their lines as closely. So you can see right here, it's like this is a fucking beautiful play too, right? PrizePicks has this guy's line at 29, ParlayPlay is 29.5, JockMKT 32. Hot Streak 30.5, Underdog 31.5. Hot Streak has roughly the same juice towards the over and the under. So it's like, damn, that seems like a pretty good play to go with. So let's take him over 29, right? So a lot of overs, which I guess we're fine with. And hopefully, hopefully we can create a nice little 5-pick entry. So 5-pick entries are best on Underdog Fantasy. So you can see here, it's like, kind of some like random... There's some random tennis line discrepancies. Sometimes there's some good value in tennis and stuff like that. So again, any plays on PrizePicks winning about 54.25% of the time are good to go. So we have 3 picks, but we ideally can find 2 more. Anyways, let's go through this. Oh, finally. So the reason this is nice is some of these headshot lines, they're something I never thought I'd say, some of these headshot lines, but we can take a look here. So again, I really think just Jalen Hurts definitely seems to be the best play. Again, if you're just tuning in, we just locked in this play. Damn, so, well, that, I don't know what ended up happening there. But anyways, let's, what was I going to say? Jalen Hurts, no TD. This play's available on Underdog. It's available on PrizePicks. Definitely seems like a solid play. But what we can do is here, I think Hot Streak recently added headshot lines. Well, do they not have any projections available. Damn, I should not have reloaded. I forgot how slow this website is. Well, here we go. So they're saying there's 4 projections for this player, but I don't see anything. So anything? Nope. Doesn't look like they have anything, but sometimes I like to check out, see if, there's any. So it doesn't really look like they have these headshot lines up yet for CSGO, but once you see them start to populate, maybe we can find some good discrepancies there. So Justin Evans, under 5 tackles and assists. So let's go here. Let's take a look at this. You can see sportsbooks have the line at 4.5. And granted, it's not as good as the Hurts play, but it does pair kind of well with the Hurts play. Kind of. Well, does it? No, it doesn't. Not really. If Jalen Hurts doesn't score a touchdown, right, most likely the Buccaneers will have the ball more. Or actually, this does kind of make... no, this doesn't make sense. So I don't think that pairs well together. So when you're betting things from the same game, you obviously just want to consider, correlation. So by that, I mean, if you want to take, Jalen Hurts over, it probably makes sense to look for some value on a A.J. Brown over. They're players on the same team, right? So, kind of makes sense. Now it's loading. Oh, baby. So now we can check out some of these headshot lines. Fuck yeah. So again, OddsJam doesn't pull in these headshot lines yet. It will soon, but it doesn't right now. So here, for example, for this player, BRNZ4N, right, you can see, right, they have the line at 20.5, right? PrizePicks has the line at 19.5, I think. So if we go back here, it's also kind of a nice hedge. So this play seems even better, right? We're not going to be able, for esports, you can't bet on players, on the same team. You can bet on players on, which kind of sucks, but long story short, it does seem like there's some headshot value. There's some headshot value here, right? Underdog Fantasy has this guy's line at 21.5. PrizePicks is at 19. Hot Streak at 20.5. So that play seems solid. And again, if you wanted to, you could middle bet this. I didn't end up doing that, but you could. So we can look now at some of these other players with headshot lines up. And let's try to find something. So Lonks, Hot Streak has the line at 20.5. Underdog Fantasy is in line with Hot Streak. They have the line around 21. And then you can see PrizePicks has a line at 23. So that's crazy, right? They're fucking that up big time, right? They're way off from Hot Streak, which is, this sports book that's available in California. How is my balance negative? How does that even make sense? What are you talking about? I feel like they're just taking money from me. I had $400 in here. Now it's saying my balance is negative 92.61. Anyways, not going to bother with this right now. Just stupid. Anyways, let's go here. Let's go to Walco. And very slow to load. But again, so we have some good esports plays. Definitely recommend Jalen Hurts under here. Some of these plays you can middle bet. I'm not, going to do that, but you could probably do it if you wanted to. So we can check out, here's what we currently have going on. So we're now taking this player, right, BRN, Z4N. We're taking his over and headshots. So it's kind of like hedging a little. I mean, it's a different market, but it's kind of like taking the Eagles money line and the Bucs point spread. It's kind of hedging. So what we have here is now we have 4 really good picks, 4 really big line discrepancies, 3 different esports games, and then this random player prop on Jalen Hurts. We can go back to football, which I do sometimes, and just oh, is there, anything new? Nope. So that sucks. So anyways, let's go back here. And what other headshot lines were there? Did we already add Walco? Walco. Nope. That's not who we're talking about. So let's go back here. And let's go to Walco. and nothing comes up. Another one, 13.5 versus 15.5 for W1. It's like, that's fucking insane. Again, you probably can't imagine AD's line being 13.5, rebounds on one sports book, 15.5 on another. It's really esports, right? What's great about esports is there's so many damn games. And again, most of these bets aren't good. Like, a lot of people, they get into thinking most of these plays, you'll find huge discrepancies between PrizePicks and Underdog. You won't, right? I mean, you can search for them manually and you can definitely find some good bets. But like, again, you're really searching for the needle in a haystack. All that the OddsJam software is doing is kind of like pointing it out to you. So anyways, this player W1, Hot Streak has his line at 14.5 with the over as the favored outcome, right? You can see they're giving you a higher payout if you take the under, 1.78 payout versus 1.63, right? So if they're giving you a higher payout for the under, that means it's the underdog. So you can see here it's in payout, 1.63, 1.78. So it's a little confusing, but if you look up like decimal odds and stuff like that, you can kind of learn about it. But again, like PrizePicks has this guy's line at 13.5. So it's like, okay, like they're screwing this up pretty big. Again, we really need to add these headshot lines because we're finding a lot of good headshot bets on PrizePicks. And again, I think the best play on PrizePicks right now is Jalen Hurts no TD. All the books have his under heavily favored. So what we can do is we can lock this in for $25, which is my maximum bet size. And I'm very, feel very good about that. So what do we have going on? So on Underdog, here's what we got. Again, if you don't want to take the Hurts play in both, I'm sure there's some other headshot lines. Like if we check out Insani or something like this, you can just kind of pull up Hot Streak. Again, we really have to get it added to OddsJam. But you can see like here, it's like, okay, like, Underdog has his line at 22.5. So does Hot Streak. So if you wanted to, what you could do is like, take Insani, take his over in headshots too. I mean, you could even possibly make this a 6-pick flex. But then you're not going to be able to take this play on BRN 4ZN. So, kind of up to you. Not a ton of NFL value right now. I mean, again, we can go back here to the EV tool and we can take a look just at plays for tomorrow's game. Damn, so like, I mean, very low. Under 40, I mean, that's an early bet. You can see some early line movement popping up. Patriots, Cowboys. Cowboys today were an embarrassment. I was hoping they'd score, keep the game close. But nope. So you can see here, like, lines bouncing around and Patriots, Cowboys, early bet on FanDuel. Again, check these books. Some of these books, I'm sure, have really good promos for Monday Night Football. I know there were a lot of promos today, but what we can do is, so here's what we have here. And again, if I'm just showing you where I'm putting my own money. Down, I follow a very data-driven approach. Some people don't, but hopefully, and I'm sure there's some other headshot bets too. So if you want to market to look for big value and line discrepancies on PrizePicks right now, rush plus receiving TDs, just anytime TD scores, and then also headshot lines. There's a lot of good plays on PrizePicks. And my assumption is, that's where we had our big win. And man, we had this weekend was straight, a lot of 3 for 5s, but mainly we had a lot of 4 for 5s, 5 for 6s, which just sucks. But what I was trying to say is a lot of the values on the under, like these sports books know, like it's not hard to see for these sports books. Like they're not fucking stupid. They know that there's value on Hurts's under, but they get so many recreational bettors who take the over and think, everyone loves to take overs anytime TD scores. It's very rare to take the under. So it kind of makes sense that a lot of times the value is going to be on the under. So actually, and Hot Streak has this at minus 122, and Hot Streak is one of the world's dumbest sports books. I would hit the shit out of this on Hot Streak, but my balance is negative, which I have no idea how this happened because I haven't placed a bet on this sports book in a while. But anyways, so there's some other headshot bets on PrizePicks, so maybe I'll tweet some out later, but, don't really feel like it right now. So here's what I got here. And then here's what I got here. Hopefully this live stream was helpful. If I didn't get to your questions, I know. Yeah, that fucking sucked. The Mahomes play. But anyways, can you send the PrizePicks link? Any concerns with sportsbooks taking your money? Definitely not. Like, they're too regulated. Even No House Advantage, which is a sportsbook that went bankrupt, ended up paying people out. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. Not personally. Anyways, I'll be back later. Maybe a live stream later tonight, but have a great one, guys. Not a ton of value right now, just more headshot lines. But best play on the board, it seems like, is Hurts, no TD. All the books have him heavily favored to go under. And yeah, have a great